No, igual estabas buenísimo. Proceda nuevamente. Increíble. A ver, esta última que me queda. Necesito ver que sería listo.
Why don't I become Elden Lord? Hello everyone and welcome. Today we answer the question, can you beat Elden Ring with only torches? Why do I do this to myself? We pick Wretch because none of the torches have crazy stat requirements, but ultimately it doesn't matter what class we start as because we are going to be playing as the strongest entity in existence, one who is so cataclysmically powerful none can stand in our way. Today we're playing as a Soldier of Godric. So first things first, we need our weapon. Luckily, with the Golden Rune 2 right outside the church, we have enough to buy it, and the damage is, oh yeah, that's the big numbers. There are 6 torches in this game, and I'm not going to stick with the basic bitch torch because I don't hate myself that much. Not yet, at least. Either way, first, I think we need to look the part. A Soldier of Godric is not born, he is made, created by slaughtering thousands of his fellow kind because of these stupid 1% drop rates. Just give me your dumb helmet, Jesus Christ! We ride along the countryside, picking up all of the golden acorns and glasses of my tears, making sure to get lost in Castle Morn and grab the twin blade talisman. This, might be a good thing, I honestly don't know. The real reason we're here is the steel wire torch. This is going to be my main weapon for basically the whole run. Not so fun fact, the torches don't have a power stance attack. They also don't have a backstab animation, or riposte animation. I am going to be smacking literal demigods with a burning stick. Also, I thought the steel wire torch had a bleed effect, which is part of the reason why I went and picked it up, but it doesn't. Could have sworn it did, but no, well, bleed would have made this too easy anyway. Go to Round Table Hold. Melina, are you inviting me back to your place? Oh, hiya. Okay, well, if you say so. Damn, you could have at least cleaned up a bit. You know, after all these playthroughs, I think this is the first time I've ever been afflicted with madness. Not the first time I've ever went insane, though. Okay, I think it's finally time to take on a boss, and you know who's up first? Yeah, it's our old friend the Crystallion. Alright, you Blue Man Group reject, I was trying to be nice, but you asked for it. So the strat for this and, probably literally every other boss will be the tried and true strong jumping attack. The torches do practically nothing for direct damage, and also practically nothing for poise damage, but if we can manage to break a boss's guard, that's a couple free hits on him. If only I could riposte them. Fortunately, once the Crystallion's guard is broken, we can literally just bully him with light attacks, but this is the last time the torch will resemble a decent weapon. Hey Chuck E. Cheese, you really changed a lot over the years. I think it's finally time to get this cross-country Olympic run underway. First up, Margit. Please don't. That's literally the point of this challenge run. So, how does this fight go? It might look like we're doing a decent amount of damage, and for Margit we are, but most of these swings are doing between 1 and 200 damage. He just has relatively low health, making it look like we're hitting big. The torch is a +4, but I'm honestly not sure what to make of that. On the one hand, it sounds like there's still potential for it to grow in strength, and on the other hand, 100 damage for a +4 is kinda hot garbage. At any rate, Margit's not an issue if for no other reason than because we have 8+8 flasks and can literally afford to make any mistakes we want. Nope, stranger danger. Haha, we having grilled chicken tonight with a side of claw talisman. I grabbed the iron wet blade hoping that I can infuse my torch to make it less suck, but spoiler alert, that turned out to be a giant waste of time. Speaking of, here's Godric. My lord, why must we fight? I can lead you to victory, trust in me, and my burning stick. You know, this fight's really grown on me. It's not hard, like, at all, but it has the same dance feeling that some of the late game bosses have. Except instead of being elegant, it's more like he has 2 left feet and 16 right hands. My lord, I shall go through the fire and the flames for you, and the fire and flames shall go through you. That was a good joke. I am good at writing jokes. We pump vigor and a tiny amount of endurance because talismans are heavy, then it's off to pick up Godric's Great Rune. I still forgot to equip it for a few hours after getting it, but hey, at least I picked it up this time. Up next is Hogwarts, and I'm gonna throw my torch into that goblet of fire. The Red Wolf of Radagon might have beautiful red fur, but that does not make him immune to my flames. A few solid smacks later and he goes down. Mr. Moonman, you are in my way. Now, I don't want to hurt you, but you're forcing my hand.
Porque no se equipa el arma de dos manos.
Ah, the library. Such a great place of learning. Well, gotta try not to Fahrenheit 451 this place while fighting Renala. Phase 1, not a problem. We don't have to kill the Sweetings to break her shield, but it does suck that it's going to take multiple cycles. Oh well, the only real danger are the massive tombstones. And apparently falling chandeliers that are easy to dodge. That being said, I was actually worried about Phase 2. Not about beating Renala, that's the easy part, but about her poise. See, in Phase 2, she has a poise value of 80 points, which is conveniently the same amount as Melania. In other words, if we have an attack that staggers Renala, it should, in theory, also stagger Melania. Fortunately, our stronger attacks cause Renala to flinch, so for the time being, my heart is at peace. Definitely not going to regret feeling confident later. As for the fight itself, it's not difficult. Every time she jumps away, just run straight at her and the magic will miss. Follow up with a jumping strong attack, repeat until she starts summoning. When she does do that, just back off until they despawn. Rinse and repeat until Renala is lightly grilled.
Esta pelea le hice hace poco con la... Ayer le hice. Con la build de solo arco. Tanto tenía la build esa.
Fortunately, I didn't find the Goblet of Fire at Hogwarts, so we press on to our next destination. The Royal Capital. The demon Lorax on a horse stands between us and the entrance, but it's fine. See, I have this plan. What I'm gonna...
Yo estoy por acá en el juego ahora. Tipo, ya maté a Radán y ahora tengo que matar a este chavo. Ah, tengo que ir ahí.
Okay, moment's gone. It's time to kill. Or be killed. So I knew this would be about when things would get tough. Our damage before was acceptable, but we're getting to the point where bosses just have a lot of health, so I think it's finally time I unleashed 2% of my full power. That's right. It's time we start two-handing the torch. Rejoice, fellow warrior, in knowing that you are the first to push the mighty soldier of Godric to such great lengths.
Por eso
But
que no estoy
alas,
usando la...
I am still victorious. Ah, the capital. That dragon's already dead because it's too afraid to fight me. You know, I am so glad nothing in this game has a ranged breath attack. Ah, Godfrey, fighting you at anything less than 100% would be an insult, but I just can't. Last time we went all out, the universe ended, and that was an HR nightmare. Do you remember the amount of paperwork we had to sign just to reinstate Kansas? Kansas? After a few dozen swings, we knocked this golden champion's lights out.
What is thy business with these thrones?
To sit? What else do you do with a throne, stupid?
Pillagers, emboldened by the flame of ambition.
No, I think this is just a normal wooden torch, no ambition here. Oh boy, okay, the Morgoth fights. This fight isn't that hard, it's just that because of the torch's low damage, the fight lasts a lot longer than normal, meaning there's a higher chance you'll ultimately get hit and probably die. On the upside, the swings are fairly quick, meaning we can get in little hits where other things like colossal weapons just wouldn't be able to. One of the best attacks for a follow-up is when he jumps. Unless you fuck it up, good job, me. In Phase 2, the blood sword attacks are a great chance to... Me? You are really making me look bad here. How on earth are you supposed to dodge this without just being far away from him? It's a slow burn, but we keep up the pressure and eventually Morgoth the Omen King falls before our might. Okay, need to be careful with my fire around this giant tree. Sure would suck if it went up in flames. Melina told us to head north to the mountaintops of the giants, a cold and lonely place
Para, no mato a Radán. ¿Eh?
filled with many things that want to kill me. I'm starting to think she doesn't want me around.
Estoy seguro ahora. Uy.
Wait, when did I start playing online? Okay, it's time. The Fire Giant. Let's do some calculations here. So the Fire Giant has 43,000 health, a resistance to fire, and we do very little damage. Yep, the results are in. This fight kind of sucks. It's not hard. We're using a normal weapon, so we can still evade his attacks and not worry about standing there for an hour. Looking at you, Ballista only. It takes forever to lower his health. In fact, it took me 14 minutes of smacking him until he died, and it's not like he has any big long combos we had to avoid, so it was just 14 minutes of constantly whacking him with my little stick. At least in the end we guard broke him, and I could show him up close and personal the stupid means by which he died. Before we go any further, there's a few things I want to do. First, we head to Weeping Peninsula and set this wannabe tree on fire for the Crimson Burst here. Then it's back to Liurnia and we grab half a medallion before heading to Castle Sol to take on Commander Nile. At first, I thought this wouldn't be such a bad fight, what with how much damage we're doing to his two idiots, but then I actually hit the commander and
Ay,
No,
no.
I was wrong. I guess he decided to wear his fireproof undies today because we were doing practically nothing to him, and he hits like a dump truck, so there's that.
Ahora en mi run de arco voy a... Tendría que mejorar el arco de Radan. Ahora yo no tengo que mejorar al máximo. El arco de Radan, tipo, va a ser el arma que uso para pelear contra enemigos grandes y contra enemigos chicos voy a usar el de... Probablemente el de gigante. Por el tema de que Radan tiene la lluvia y la lluvia es muy buena para cuando alguien es muy grande. Igual contra chicos, pues... Me apareció un video y lo vi y tiene razón que si usas la flecha de gigante hacen como una explosión cuando cae. Y eso está buena.
But after patiently waiting and taking only necessary swings, he eventually goes down, giving us access to the consecrated snowfield. Alright, Sanguine Noble, walk into this! NPC fights suck because in addition to every other problem the torch has, it also has the range of a baby carrot, but I found a nice little strategy. Basically walk away from the enemy and let them run into your attacks. Only one Ghostman? That's not so bad. Oh no.
Oh.
We didn't come here to duel the noble or get smacked to death by Ghostmen. No, we came looking for something of incredible importance, and after bumbling around in the snowstorm, we find it. Saint Trina's Torch. This will immediately prove its worth because the next fight is absolute crap. But first, a little more preparation. We head over to Fort Lade? Fort Lyed? We head over to Fort L in Mount Gilmer for the Fire Scorpion charm.
Sí.
This handy little trinket will boost our fire damage, but make us take more damage in return. I'm just hoping it'll be worth it. We did it, Patrick. We saved the lands between. Waking up in literal hell,
Bro,
we
me
hop,
como-
skip, and jump around until...
¿Cómo es el café con este cosito? ¿Cómo es el café con ese cosito? Tiene café en la... la pared. Tipo, me queda toda esta espuma de café. No tiene mucho gusto. Me voy a lavar las manos y vuelvo. Continuemos. Y estaba a punto de irme a buscar agua, pero no hace falta. ¿Qué categoría estoy? League of Legends. Parecido. Uy, ¿dónde está el LOL? Acá.
We arrive. Oh, of course the magical purple flames don't do any damage. Why would it? Godskin Duo. Fitting that the single toughest boss in this run would be the two whose lore make them actual god killers. There's always one fight in every run I do that is agonizingly difficult, and for this one, it is here. Malekith? Nah. Melania? Radagon? Who's that? Godskin Duo is the real final boss of this run, let me tell you. The itty bitty range on our torches meant we always had to be right next to them, making hit and run tactics kinda useless. Not to mention,
Como odio los tipos tirando fuegos artificiales. Así. Pim, pum, pam. Pam, pim, pum.
We do practically nothing for damage. I had to develop a very specific strategy over the course of 2 days. That's right, this fight took 2 days to finish. If I had to use a regular torch, I'd probably still be here. The first day of attempt, I saw a little improvement. Slowly, we would lower their overall HP more and more, but it was never enough. We would keep making stupid mistakes and getting killed. Also, can we talk about this attack? What even is it? It's so fast, I think it's actually impossible to dodge. Even if you aren't doing anything, you'd have to dodge before it came out to actually dodge it. How is this a fair attack? What's the counterplay? Just don't stand in front of him? After several hours, I started losing it. The strategy was there, but we needed something else that would help us just a little bit more. So, we took a break from this hell and headed back to Consecrated Snowfield and made our way through Ordina Liturgical Town, which is only slightly less bullshit than that fight, honestly. Making our way down the Hallig Tree, we end up facing off with Loretta, but don't worry, she's easy. I just can't win, can I? So she really isn't that hard, we just stay behind her. Okay, new plan, we stop getting hit, and eventually we win. I'm not actually here for Melania, though she'd probably be easier than Duo. Instead, we're here to pick up the... I said we're here to pick up the... We're here to... Oh, come on! We're here to pick up the Dragon Crest Great Shield Talisman, granting us a 20% boost.
Tengo que ir a buscar eso yo. Justamente ahora no puedo ganar lo que estoy haciendo. Me voy a poner a set. ¿Por qué? Pues me pintó.
Boost to physical protection. After that, it's over to the Lux Runes to grab the Ritual Sword Talisman, which will give us 10% extra damage at full health. We take off the Fire Scorpion Charm because, let's face it, we aren't getting any real damage from its increase, and we're just being hurt by the damage taken. Literally. With perfect execution and a little enormous amount of luck, I think we can topple the Duo.
Tengo que buscar el talismán que agarró de la espada. Tengo que agarrar todo lo que me gusta del daño porque lo voy a necesitar.
So what even is this mythical strategy? It's to send them to Never Never Land and keep them there.
¿Qué iba a decir? Tengo que farmear también la flecha gigante.
No, really. When the fight starts, we duck behind this wall just to cast Fires of Slumber safely. The fire helps build the sleep condition, and I think it helps to build up a V-swing, but that part I'm not so sure. The next step is to hit them until they go to bed. Fortunately, their sleep resistance is rather low, so it only takes 3 to 4 hits depending on how fast you are. Okay, so what's the problem? This sounds like an easy win. Which it would be, if From didn't add that stupid mechanic where enemies got more resistant to effects the more they were applied. If I lit you on fire one time, I don't think you're going to be any more resistant to being lit on fire. So yeah, every time we put them to sleep, they get harder to be put to sleep. But that's not even the worst part. With this sleep loop, it's actually pretty easy to kill them. But did you know that when they get brought back to life, it's not actually a new godskin? How do I know that? Because it still takes a gazillion hits to sleep them. That's right, as far as the game is concerned, it's the same one you just killed, but back from the dead, making this fight way harder. And if you accidentally hit them one extra time, you'll immediately knock them out of their sleep, and if they're doing an animation when that happens, well, they just won't go to sleep. They just keep on swinging and just... Having both of them awake with high sleep resistance is just a death sentence. That's all it is. But, there is one thing that helps. When the animation for them going to sleep starts, it has to finish, meaning there is plenty of time to hit them. So even with the huge resistance, you can just put them to sleep fairly consistently. In the winning attempt, we got this close to dying, so I guess that stupid talisman was a good investment. It took 2 days and way too many tries, but eventually they go down. Now there is nothing this game can throw at me that I can't handle.
No sé qué tan bueno es eso.
Except for a pair of random Faramazula Beastmen. I just can't have nice things, can I, game? Beast Clergyman is always a bigger problem for me than Malekith because of how fast his attacks are, but he's not wearing any flame-resistant robes, so we burn through his life bar in no time. Then it's off to fight the cooler Beast Clergyman. I love this fight. I wish we got a whole life bar of Malekith with extra moves. Most of his attacks are well telegraphed and dodgeable, but still the appropriate amount of punishing. Still wish his hitboxes weren't so tight though. But Malekith goes down first try.
God.
Sir Gideon the All-Knowing
Voy a ver cómo me va cuando juegue esa pelea con mi
is
build
about to become
de arco.
Sir Gideon the Tired. My first plan was to use St. Trina's torch and put him to sleep, but I found out Gideon is apparently a college student and doesn't need sleep.
Voy a probar después Face, alguna de las aplicaciones que me dicen si mis
Okay,
convenios son
that's
buenos o
fine.
malos.
He isn't a problem. God, I hate this attack. I know it's just a matter of getting good, but I just can't. I am the bad. So bad, not even the power of a soldier of Godric can help me. Okay, so the sleep torch actually is the play. The stagger lets us get an extra hit in. I hate you. In the end, we win by walking at him, and he continues to talk crap
Creo que
from
esta
beyond
pelea
the grave, but
va a
that's
ser relativamente fácil, basado más que nada en si le pego un flechazo se cae al suelo.
okay.
Y
He's just
con
bad
su
because
monear
bad.
un Sodachi ya no mata.
Finally, a worthy opponent. Our battle will be legendary. This fight is just, it is so unbelievably satisfying to dodge around Godfrey and weave attacks between his.
Como odio a los nenitos con fuegos artificiales. Como odio a los nenitos con fuegos artificiales. ¿Hará proxy farming el pibe este? Este pata sigue sin hacer proxy. Voy a ver si es honesto. Me costaría así si me responde. ¿Viste cuando ves algo y decís? Mission aborted. Escribió mal aborted, creo que es con la B larga. Sad boy wants e-girl. Are waiting for their commands. Ayer me puse a jugar más partidas de Yorick fuera de stream porque estaba aburrido. Y tipo tenía un ping muy molesto. No. No tengo tipo ningún interés en pelearle al Zika. Tipo, estoy full focusado en mis minions. Uy. Ok, ok. Vamos a ver esto, su jungla. Tiene su jungla un Ramos, ok. Estamos de chilling. Él tiene TP. Ghost creo que ya lo gastó. Sí, acá. ¿Estaré muerto? Creo que estoy muerto. Sí. F. Hacemos así. Así. F. Me cosas estaba viendo mis estadísticas y tipo, la primera del día tengo las chances de perder como 13% más. Tiene una web enorme. Bueno, le... Pum, pum. Bueno. Messi. Eso es lo que tiene, tipo... Sin es molesto CCar, pero como mi W no es un CC que no es que lo solucionas o con un dash o con mucha velocidad de ataque. Tipo, no es una cosa que solucionas con velocidad. Entonces lo caga. Tipo, si se lo pego, lo cague. Se lo hicieron. Se lo hicieron. F. Uy, gracias. Se hizo botas. Ok. Con Dama Ignite no puedo perder, creo, 1-9-1. Ok, ahí estás. Uy. Es un single, no quiero estar cerca de la torre. Porque por ahí me tira, me stunea y me muero. Por tonto. Tengo 1 o 2. Okay. Para que le están pegando mucho la dama. Gracias. No sé dónde está su jungla. ¿54, 64? Una increíble pelea. Ah. Estuvo cerca de eso, brother. Me vuelvo con 3K de oro casi. Así me gusta. Un buen back. Uno de esos que vaqueas y decís, dame el ítem completo. God. Me sirve. Uy, tengo un red encima ahora. Me gusta jugar así, tipo, estoy completamente de chill. Escalando ahí. Snowboleando, se podría decir. Uy. Voy. Caballero. Pum, pum. Nos vemos. Gol. No, soy un malardo. No. F. La cagué. Pensé que iba a pegarle más de lo que le pegaba con la Q. Yo pensé que iba a pegarle un... La última Q que pegué pensé que con esa Q le mataba, pero no. Fallé. F. Tendría que haberme hecho primero... Uy, qué fuerte la música, boludo. Tendría que haberme hecho primero el heraldo y después el escurre. Pero bueno. Tendría que... Para la próxima, yo no sé. Lo malo es que ahora tiene un heraldo que le regalé yo, básicamente. Soy un hijo. No. Por nada, boludo, no me llevé la placa. Triste. ¿Qué hará el Singed? ¿Elegirá tipo hacer sidelane conmigo siempre o...? ¿Por qué? ¿Por qué? ¡Ah! O... O irá con su team. Es una buena pregunta. La respuesta es se quedó sin torre. Ah, está ahí. Ok. Me está viniendo para acá el sitio. Lo vi. Ahí está uno. Uy. Casi la queda ahí, ¿eh? Yo tengo mítico. Estoy un ítem y medio delante de él. Más o menos. I am a problem.
Your team has destroyed a turret.
Tell me of the beyond, in case I never make it.
Tiremos la torre.
Your team has destroyed a turret.
Che, dama, ¿podés? Por favor, ¿cómo odio eso de la dama? Tipo, le tiro para que vayan los bendecitos, no para que vaya la dama. No quiero que la dama vaya también, boludo. Eso es lo que me da bronca. Como no quiero que estén todos.
An enemy has been
God.
slain.
Tiramos todo mismo. Traigan la web. Gracias. No le sale nada a Wars así lo que está haciendo. Pues tipo, sí están haciendo sidelane, pero tipo. ¿A qué costo? Oh my vamos. Me causa mucha gracia el palazo. ¿Por qué tiene FF, boludo? Acabamos de tirarles todo. Literalmente le hacemos un agujero en mid. Yo tengo un lugar, puedo literalmente tepearles y sacarles el inhibidor.
Your turret has been destroyed.
Me sale Wars.
Ally has been slain.
It is
An
earth.
enemy has been slain.
Tengo que saber dónde están todos para hacerlo. Porque si no, no sé dónde están, ponele. no llego a tirar y gasto TP al pedo.
The grave is your home.
Voy a esperar a tener la dama.
Your tomb awaits.
God. Yo estando ahí y aseguré que no podía ni siquiera ir al dragón. Gasto pum pum este y algo más, nada más. Bueno, un poco óptimo eso. No me sirven para nada el dragón este, pero bueno. Ahora morir el pedo acá. No sé por qué está pegado. Supongo que se agarra. Bueno, me quité, molesto. Matamos a uno.
If they could see what I see, they'd long for death.
Yo tengo la dama.
Go, take what you will. I must dig. The hole I dig is for you.
An enemy has been slain.
Pero no te pegues eso. Uy.
It is the end.
Vale. Estoy yendo, dale, me pingaste el la puta que te remil parió. ¿Te hace Ramos?
Death used to be the sun. Then your kind joined the mist.
Creo que encima me lo podría soñar. Cuando me falta... 200 ahora me falta. Voy a hacerme los rocosos y no sé si me alcanza ya. Creo que no. Y casi seguro que no.
Death is not always a release.
Eh, 50 horas más. Mato esta wave y va a quedar.
Here we go.
Tengo ítem. Bueno, vamos a abrir dragonal.
So few
Te mueras. Pase lo que pase, no te mueras. Lo único que importa es que no se muera Lee. Puede ser nuestro smite.
You decay.
The enemy's inhibitor is respawning soon.
Me sirve, los distraen en una pelea inútil y nosotros hacemos algo. Nice. Nice. Ya tenemos alma. So.
Red is the heart that barely beats in me.
Es viento. No es la más óptima, pero...
Your team has destroyed a turret. An enemy has been slain. An enemy has been slain. Your team has destroyed a turret. Enemy rampage. Rampage.
¿Tiran FF?
Your team has destroyed an inhibitor.
No.
Your team has destroyed a turret. Your team has destroyed a turret. Your team has destroyed an inhibitor.
Oh, qué paja.
Your team has destroyed.
Me dejaron ward, sí. Ahí bueno, todo. A ver, están sin inhibidores. ¿Por qué me pinguean a mí? Yo me puse a tirar. Tiré a 2 torres. No llegué a tirar el nexo, boludo. Ah, bueno, pibe. Se lo remil recogieron. ¿Qué me pinguearon?
I've come too far to stay dead. They once called these isles undying, yet die they will. Welcome back. You won't be here long.
¡No! Me mató, soy malísimo. Soy un hijo de puta. Porque un amigo es un en medio de los... Ahora me voy por los minions.
When we end,
God.
we begin again.
Aced.
¿Ya aparece en la foto? Más 50.
Victory.
Siempre tuve fe. Porque un amigo es una luz en medio de la oscuridad. Tócalo. No me contés más 22. 70 LP, what the fuck. Gané 2 seguidas, no me la comí. Está full. ¿Cuánto? Iba a ver cuánto le pega a Thor. Mejor. No me olvidé, mejor dicho.
I'm very much on record disliking the Nightbringer and Dawnbringer skins. I think the skin line is painfully generic at the best of almost offensively aggressively bland and uncreative at worst. And yet, I don't hate Nightbringer Kane that much. It is at least a fun inversion that here, Rost is the good guy while the Shadow Assassin represents evil. There's a bunch of work put into turning Rost's aggressive shape language into something resembling an angelic archon, while Shadow Assassin does manage to look a little bit chaotic, not just slick and evil like the rest of them. So if the rest of Kane's skins had been less good, hey, maybe this one wouldn't have been the worst of them, but as it is, it is. It never escapes the fundamental aesthetic vapidness of the skin line that it's stuck within, and literally any of Kane's other skins have better and more interesting visual ideas to offer. Did you know, for example, that Soul Hunter Kane gets a hat when he turns into the Shadow Assassin form? It's actually a really cool launch skin. It seems to tell the story about him, like, becoming an old and grizzled veteran, which I think is a cool idea for the evolution mechanic. Wish some more skins would do something with that. Subscribe to this channel for shorts, or see my main channel for longer in-depth videos.
Short dick.
Guinness have released something called the Nitro Surge, and apparently you can get a pint of the black stuff just as good in your living room as you can get down the local boozer. I'm a skeptic because Guinness at home is rubbish. Do you want to give it a go first?
All right. Like that.
Good feel?
Oh, it feels so good. Do you just do that then?
You do a 45-degree pour. I think you have to press something.
You don't have to press anything, just hold on. Is it?
You have to make sure it's locked.
Now it's not coming out.
The way that it should work, you open your chilled can, you push the button to activate it, which you're not doing.
Right.
Okay, then you hold the can.
Oh, here it is. Oh God, I'm so bored.
Son estúpidos los chavales estos.
Moments later.
We're back. Turns out we're both a pair of morons. We were using it wrong. So here's how it's actually meant to work. Almost horizontal, and
Whoa.
it's coming out like that.
Whoa.
That's actually great. Oh,
Looks
no.
a bit dribbly, isn't it?
Yeah. Let's see if it's anything like a pint. There's way too many bubbles, but I'm going to say that's probably a mea culpa.
Every member of the Seminole tribe becomes a multimillionaire the day they turn 18. The Seminole Indians operate casinos on their native land, including the Seminole Hard Rock, which is the 6th largest casino in the world. The tribe also owns the Hard Rock brand itself, which means any casino, bar, or cafe you go to operating under that name is putting money back towards the tribe. Sorry, Hard Rock Nick. The tribe uses the profits from these operations to pay all of their members a payment of $128,000 a year. Children get this money paid into a trust, which they cannot touch until they are 18, which means by the time they can use their money, they are multi-millionaires. This may sound like a dream come true. Practically, teenagers and life-changing amounts of money are not a great combination. And the tribe has had some serious issues with money being recklessly spent on fast cars and parties, often with devastating results.
My passenger's getting arrested?
No, es que la gente te pide cosas que vos no, que será de Dios.
Voy contra un Jax. Yo tengo fe.
Lo que viene a ser pinturería, yo no sé qué pasa, pero se le tara la cabeza a la gente. Cosas que son de lo más normales te la piden que no sabe qué te están pidiendo. Una rasqueta me pidieron el otro día, una rasqueta, ¿escuchá? Espátula se llama, señora. Rasqueta si tiene sarna. Estoy buscando un redondel de cinta. ¿Qué cinta? Y ahí se le llena el culo de preguntas. Y de esa pa' pegar, pero será de
This won't pull a bag of balloons across the moon, all right? Well, what's your payload?
My what?
How big is your boat, man? Because this thing can get caught in a current, it can get
Okay,
ripped.
man, look, I'm not actually towing anything. I just need a rope, so please.
For what? What do you need it for?
Look, it's personal, okay?
Oh.
Espera, me han dicho que la magia siempre tiene un precio.
¿Y tu punto es?
¿Qué tengo que darte para que levantes tu hechizo sobre Diana?
Bueno, ahora esto se pone interesante. Quiero algo de ti que es muy preciado. Algo que te has esforzado mucho en ocultar. Algo que una vez dado no podrás nunca recobrar. Algo que rompe el alma. Welcome to Summoner's Rift.
Joder, es cine.
Triste estoy. Triste estoy.
Es un trato. Puede detenerse. Déjalo un poco más.
Y diré. Life is but a brief disinterment.
Me olvidé de ponerme la skin de gatitos. Qué paja. Te van a conseguir. Ojalá tenga la skin de las facheras de Yorick. No tengo ninguna. De God.
They'd long for death. This journey is long, but I will complete.
Ponemos luego música a fondo. Level 1 creo que gana él. Esperemos que no lo sepa.
Water for the living, shovel for the dead.
Pala para los muertos.
What's one more grave?
Se acaba de comer daño gratis.
The grave is your home.
Uy, lo re. No, soy un hijo de puta. Hice sin querer eso. No, la cae. Ah. La cae.
One day I will no longer awaken.
R 2 E seguidas. Eso no debería haber pasado.
How quick the turn from blessed to lust. The Isles remember.
Me cagué todo con el ruidito ese.
To dirt you return.
Bueno, me voy a quedar acá de chill porque ahora él va a vaquear con un ítem. No voy a llegar a pushearla hasta la web, hasta su torre. Y él va a volver con un ítem.
I remember when I put them in the ground. Your end is nigh.
Tengo que meter la web acá.
I shall perform your rites.
An enemy has been slain.
puede que esté a punto de ser diveado.
The bells toll, and I respond. I see.
¡Ah! Tiene flash. God.
The beyond is not given, it is earned.
No me gusta jugar contra el Jack, la verdad, pero bueno. $29, 31. Llegó al canal, creo que sí. No sé cómo exactamente, pero sí. Uy.
One more step toward the end. I must dig.
Acá de Chile.
My curse is our only hope.
Ok. Crashean su torre.
Once call these isles undying, yet die they will.
No tiene flash este señor.
I cling to life.
¿Cuánto?
by the
70.
thinnest thread.
Pero aguanta un cacho. Aguanta un cacho que pushé el auto. Wey, por favor. Re impacientes los hijos de puta. ¿Qué les costaba esperar un poco que pushé la wave y no tenían que morir en balsa? Espera, supongo no, de aquí.
Searching for a place to take root.
You retreat like a coward. An ally has been slain.
Material items for the material world.
Llego al antes que me pushé la wave bajo torre.
An ally has
Puede
been
ser.
slain.
Sí. No. Sí. ¿Sí? Creo que sí.
I'll mourn for you.
Sí, lleva el canal. God.
The damned resist.
Killing spree.
What hell is worse than this limbo?
Ok.
Has become skin. I must dig.
Rampage.
Me pego una y está muerto.
The ruined king will soon meet the victims of his curse.
Vamos. Yo tengo TP. Y de chilling. Estamos igual en minions. Él tiene 2 kills, pero yo tengo 3 placas. Messi. Creo que no llega ni a pushear antes de que yo llegue ahí. Y tengo TP ahora. Pero cada interacción está pasando de la misma forma. Él me salta con QA, lo meto en la cárcel, lo sochico y lo cago a piña, reseteamos. One.
Your remains will serve a purpose.
Averaje Jax player. Pam 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 pam. What? Transpira una banda y no sé por qué. Uy.
Don't bury me with it. You can't take it with you.
Una cosa que me causa es que con Yorick tengo muchísimo mejor farm que con ningún otro campeón. Tipo, mi media farm con la mayoría de campeones es como 4.2. Con Yorick es 7.1. Digo, por ejemplo, si le peleo ahora muero. Porque tipo no tengo dama, no tengo soda chiquis. Así que no le peleo, simple y llanamente.
What's one more grave?
Shut down.
The ruined king's allies shall fall with him.
Hey, what am I with What?
Hear you, no matter how you cry.
An ally has been slain.
Take shape.
¡No! ¡Ah! F. Ah, se escapó con nada de vida, boludo. Qué bronca. Ah. F. Ay, casi tiro de la torre. Qué baja.
When we end,
Abrí mi torre. Está chistoso, pero no le puedo pelear sin dama. Tipo, no pego sin mis pibes.
Wake up. You have a new task.
Bien.
Some of these faces I know well.
Your turret has been destroyed. Shut down.
Bueno. Alta fiesta se armó, boludo.
Your team has destroyed a turret.
Bueno. Saqué torre. No. Ah, yo iba a descargarme uno de los cositos para chequear. A ver, voy a usar el de Ligograph, que es el que uso normalmente. ¿Cuál es el Ligograph? Es Professor, creo. Ahí es Professor.
Your turret has been destroyed. Enemy rampage.
Because I must.
Your team has destroyed a turret. Your turret has been destroyed.
Scatter their remains.
An ally has been slain.
Es el peor que estén acá.
In case I never make it.
Y también tendrían que haber estado en Drake estos dos. Estos dos pelotudos tendrían que estar acá para poder hacer el Drake nosotros.
But for the waters, the mist would take me.
El dragón no top. Como los odio.
Go. Take what you will. Carry these souls to their end, wherever it may be.
¿Cómo te odio? Karma estúpida. Qué estúpida que es. Ay, Dios, es muy estúpida Karma. Por querer ir a buscar la kill. Tipo, no tiene sentido lo que hizo. Ah.
Small price to pay to cleanse this land. They rise, they fight, we rot.
Ahí estamos al jungla. Y al jungla se lo están por coger. Dios. Está muertísima. Me pingué a mí encima. Sí, dale, ahí te salvo los otros chabones. Ahí te salvo. La karma es más larga. Eso, habido. Ay, Dios.
Material items for the material world. It is to the grave we go.
A jugar por acá. Estuve a punto de morir porque tenía Prowler.
So many souls, so few bodies. This never ends. I am very
Casi.
Do you hear that? It is the end.
Bien. Vaya, anda el dragón vos en oh, me da igual. Se lo van a hacer los otros dos.
The beyond is waiting. Strive to meet it. A breath between rights.
Mapa.
So many souls to liberate. We all
Me causa eso de el que dice Demacia no es Garen, es Sharon.
needs bread and water. What of me dreams
God. Podemos hacer varón.
To destroy it is quagmire.
Lo que me curo. No sé cuántas veces me hice ya la jungla de Jar. Ya me lo hice un par de veces ese blue. O sea, todas las junglas me hice ya como 3 veces.
The bells toll, and I respond.
Vamos, pibes, trabajen. Ya saben, el jungla está muerto. I am the difference maker, como dice el que juega Yorick. God. Me como a morir malsa. Te dije. Bueno. Eso es medio un desperdicio de balón, pero bueno. ¿Qué se va a hacer?
Revived by the tears of life. Don't bury me with it. You can't take it with you. See the maiden. She comes for you. Arise and return to this world.
No, capo, no voy a agruparme. Para algo tengo TP, la concha, tu hermana.
Things fade, but
No, la caí. Tenía que haber peleado con nada más. Bueno, se fue. Bien. Sí, hijo de puta, soy un gris de mierda.
Your team has destroyed an inhibitor.
Oh, boludo, me quedé sin barrita cereal, qué triste que estoy. Ah, 12-5. No me he dado cuenta. Ponía varón ahora.
I've come too far to stay dead.
Bueno, no me voy. Hagan tiempo. Lo único que quiero es que no muera. Tipo, si mi equipo no muere, yo tiro. Pero que hagan la parte de no morir está complicado. Qué hijos de puta. Qué paja. No sé. Nice throw. Qué gordo, hijo de puta, que eso vio. Nice throw. Ustedes estuvieron perdiendo. Ustedes no tendrían que haber peleado ahí. Simple. Literalmente, ahí perdimos porque ellos murieron. Si ellos no peleaban esa teamfight, ganábamos. Pues yo tiraba las torres. Es más, creo que si ignoraba si yo ignoraba al Veigar, creo que ganamos. Pero bueno. Nice throw, a ver. Nice throw. Ay, Dios, ay, Dios, ay, Dios. Y qué se le va a hacer, brother. Uy, pará. Voy a instalarme el profesor. A ver. No tendría que haber dudado y tendría que haber tirado torres. Tenía que haber ignorado el Veigar y tirado torres. Pero bueno. La vida es dura, pero más dura la verdura. Ya que sé. Pianta. Te dejó piantado.
Red. It grows from trees.
Apple.
And it's
Ay, Dios. Oh. Instalando. Dale, instalar. No uso Chrome. Ah. A ver. Dale, quiero ver si mis compañeros son todos unos petes de mierda. God. Mira, soy yo. Mi win rate de 53%. Puedo aplayar para estar en... Para estar partner de profesor. Me goza muchas gracias eso, no sé por qué. Me voy a mirar TikTok mientras espero. Petardos de mierda.
No veo nada. No oigo nada, perdón.
Probablemente se preocupaba por ti. ¿Y a mí qué cojones me importa? ¿Quién es ese puto random? Es decir, sois gente... No os conozco, igual os sorprende esto. Sé que ahora diréis, Alejandro, eres un borde. Pero os he hablado muchas veces de esta relación asimétrica que tenemos. No os conozco, no sé quiénes sois. De mí que se preocupen mis amigos, mi familia y a la gente a la que le importo. No sé quién cojones sois. O sea... Yo no voy a alguien random por la calle y le digo, por cierto, tienes mala cara. Rollo, ¿estamos tontos o qué cojones os pasa?
Esto lo dije yo y me cayó un funadón.
Es un poco mal hecho, nada. A ver. ¿Contra quién estamos? Están los pibes. Buenas tardes.
Hola. Uy, Dios, tengo que pegar la intro esa, boludo.
Estoy jugando al juego chistoso.
Acá estoy.
¿Cuál es el juego, chicos?
LOL.
Este juego menos chistoso que...
Me está llenando de odio jugarlo y me corroe el alma, pero bueno, la vida es dura.
Restablece PS. Ah, es como un consumible.
Parece.
Cométela.
Ah, guardátela en el orto, boludo.
Literal.
Che, ¿por qué no se sube los pantalones tu personaje?
Es un héroe mentiras, bro.
Caro.
Eso tiene que ser muy incómodo, boludo.
Caro.
Qué chota que eres.
Las ranas en Japón, boludo. Hay una cajita a la derecha. Bueno.
Te salta con cuadrado, me está dejando patidifuso esto.
Cámbialo.
No se puede.
¿Cómo que no se puede?
Tenés 3 configuraciones de joystick, ¿no?
Juego con teclado.
Caro.
Ah, es maestría de armas.
Sí.
Boludo.
Ay, Dios.
Mi mid es autofill, mi AD es autofill y mi soporte es autofill. Ah, no, no es un autofill. Ah, ok, dije nada.
¿Qué liga estás, Apo?
¿Ahora? No. Yo estoy con los buenos. Yo estoy con los golds.
No grites, amigo, no grites, te dejo jamás el volumen.
Estoy en... Creo que plata 2.
Una banda.
Boludo, ayer jugué, poner que estaba en una racha de 14 partidas de ganar una, perder una. Tipo, me estaban dando ganas de patear pibes. Tipo, de salir a la calle y matar bebés.
Me tienta ese juego, capaz lo pruebo. ¿Cómo se
A
llama?
mí no
Let
me
It
gustó
Die,
mucho
¿no?
el combate, pero creo que es cuestión de acostumbrarse.
Se ve un poco medio clunky.
Está clunky.
Porque onda, si es de habilidad, a mí me gusta que se sienta bien, pero qué sé yo.
¿Lo compraste el
Sí, como
juego o
Dark
lo
Souls,
pirateaste?
no. Es gratis.
Ah.
Que no
Gratis.
quiero.
Tenés que comprar vidas.
¿Te lo podés morfar?
Hoy estaba
Sí,
mirando
No
para
sabía.
hacer.
ahora que me lo decís.
Estaba mirando para hacerme la build.
Te cura 60, es bastante.
Una banda. Va, si no me lo comía no
Avance.
sabía.
Elden Ring.
If I told you.
Una Shotsuya Blood. Uy, que corre.
Sí tiene una bazooka, boludo, era un palo nomás.
Sí, un pico, amigo.
Oh.
Le sabes.
Ay,
Se ven
no.
clunky las dejas. Tienen CD interno, boludo. Cuando te pegan, no te pueden volver a pegar durante un tuyo. Primero, o sea, esperás el ataque, esquivás y ahí le pegas en intermedio.
Concha de su madre.
¡Ey! Cagada, piña.
Opa.
¿Puedes llevar 3 armas?
Eh...
Tiene uso. Mirá, abajo tiene una barrita blanca.
Todos tienen uso.
Ah, está
no
cagada
tengo
piña
balas
porque te
de
cagó
esto.
piña.
Tipo,
Che.
puedes poner 3 armas en cada mano y
Cuco,
las
¿estás
que
jugando algo vos?
son doble mano, bueno.
Estoy viendo unas cosas.
Bueno, abrí una pestaña separada y hace abrir stream de mierda. Estoy yo ahí.
Me parece que estoy ocupado, puede ser.
Qué hijo de puta, gordo forro.
Aguantame un segundito.
Sí.
No grites, amigo.
No grité ahí, boludo.
Pero se te
Sí, está
satura un
gritando, hijo de
montón.
puta.
Ah, perdón.
Uy.
Hablo bajito.
¿Es eso, amigo?
¿Qué pasa?
Bueno, no quería ir más lento. Esta es música de follar,
¿Quieres hacer algo?
No. ¿Qué era eso?
Gana este burro muy bien.
Qué bueno que soy en este juego, le da
era
300
eso?
vidas. No sé, dice que me da recompensa. Ah, creo que si sale mal hago ruido y llamo a los chabones.
Puede ser. Y
Ahí
si
está.
sale bien.
Tengo que descifrar los GTA.
GTA. Mira
Arma
la.
de 2 manos.
¿Se puede mejorar? Es la misma que tenés.
Sí, creo que me están dando ganas de bajarme ese jueguito, ¿no?
Sí, a mí también. Mirá, lo quiero seguir
Hijo de
viendo.
puta.
Upa. Lo hiciste garro, chapón. El Juja dijo que quería jugar al Genshi.
Concha de tu madre.
No, qué edición a la juja.
¿Tenés corazoncitos? ¿Eso será tipo miedo o una cosa así? ¿Viste que tenés un corazoncito en medio? ¿Será que tenés como pánico o algo así cuando te pegan mucho?
No, es la estamina, digamos. Es el sistema de estamina.
Me gusta, ¿no?
Mirá, ves, ahí subiste maestría del pico. Está peor. Quiero ver la progresión igual, pues.
Ah, mirá, acá arriba a la derecha puedo comer.
Sí, son los consumibles.
Let's go, boy. Bueno, tiramos la torre, los minions bajo torre y nos vamos.
Material items for the material world.
Uy, me muestra todos los campeones de la jungla. Tampoco me importan tanto, boludo, por favor. No.
It hurts to remember.
Ah, bueno. Está en una de esas el Nasus,
What's one more grave?
Ally has been slain. Enemy double kill.
Scatter their remains.
¿Me está dando ping estar conectado al Discord?
You are to die. I shall perform your rites.
Shut down. An enemy has been slain.
Simple. Si te quedas, te morís. Me llevo si me voy. Pierde toda la wave.
An enemy has been slain.
Nice. Estoy seguro que la está pasando re bien el Nasus. Por nada, no sé, la quedó ahí, Está demasiado feliz el Nasus ahí. Está apreciando porque sabe. Ah, bien. Si vaqueo, dijo ya. Lamentablemente soy una puta acá. Ah, casi. Bien, me llevo la wave. Boludo, se me laguea con el profesor. Pues lo voy a sacar. Pues siento que me va mal. Ah, estaba a un palazo. Estabas a un palazo, hijo de puta, de que te hunda la frente.
An enemy has been slain.
Our time has not yet come.
Va 2 waves atrás. Ok, ahora me va bien. El Overwolf es una cagada. Me dejó hecha mierda la compu, no sé por qué.
This horde consumes all.
Ok.
Killing spree. An ally has been slain.
Life is but a brief interment.
Ok. Ya se me está eco.
Shut down.
Ya no se me está eco.
Preserve me. The hole I dig, it is for you. Some of these faces I know well. Yours is an easy grave to dig, small one.
Ah. A puta madre. Dejan de unir a top. Me gusta cuando esta línea es está aislada. ¿Quién me mató? Él.
An ally has been slain.
There will be no requiem. Not yet.
Ah, se llevó un montón de oro.
I do not know what lies beyond, but it is better than this. Behold the horrors of the isle.
Vení acá. Boludo, cómo me tiltea la dama. Me retiltea. El no poder controlarla me hace enojar, pues como, sí, quiero que le pegues un poco, no quiero que te vaya bajo torre y que te mueras. Pero no, como el juego está hecho de cierta forma en la que hacer eso es imposible.
Flesh that will soon find
Dios, qué molestos que son. Váyanse de mi línea.
water for the living, shovel for the dead. What's one more grave?
Por favor. Ok, no lo vamos a matar. ¡Ah! Lo que acabo de... A ver, yo no la jugué igual. Bien. Ah, te mentir, pensé que iba a ser más mi. Pensé que mi jungla tenía ulti. Ah, no mi. La jugué mal. ¿Qué se le va a hacer? Qué bronca, boludo. Ahí están... Me molesta que todos siempre top, pero bueno. Que mi jungla juegue para bots y que se hagan todos los dragones. Ya va a llegar el momento en el que no les rinda estar en top. Y un Nasus es un Nasus. Tipo, por más que escales, me voy a poder coger.
The maiden, she comes.
You have slain an enemy.
Acá ya.
Flesh torn asunder, flesh reborn.
Ni idea, Phantom Dancer tuvieron dos minions.
An enemy has been slain. An ally has been slain.
What a beautiful dream is life.
Ah. ¿Alguien más quiere venir a mi línea? La puta de los remil parió. Bueno. Estaba el Baru también. Dale. De una. La cosa es que está constantemente todo el equipo en top. Como dale, por favor, capo. Gracias. Estaba por acá el Nasus. No te solo si lo he matado.
It's good to see you. I shall perform your rites. I carry these souls to their end, wherever it may be.
Vamos, pibes, vamos. A casa. Opa. Bien, vayamos a hacernos toda la jungla. Continuemos. Okay. Oh, qué paja. ¿Se hicieron ellos el dragón? ¡Qué paja, boludo! Tendría que haber pushado más rápido para que tipo tuvieran que haber medio responder y no hubieran estado todos en el dragón. Soy mal, la verdad. F. Ok. A casa. Casi. A ver, es que es re triste porque, tipo, el chabón ultea y yo lo ignoro. Tipo, yo lo dejo que se pelee con los pibes. Tipo, lo meto en la jaula hasta que te portes bien, boludo. Como alta paja. Pueden soleárselo.
Remember my name, for one day I will not.
Nice. Dios, lo que me pega, qué asco. 15-5. Bueno, a ver. Por un lado es como, morimos, por el otro lado. Bueno. ¿Qué haces sin mí, hermano? Gold. Ganamos acá, creo.
See the maiden. She comes for you.
Has destroyed a turret.
No. No, y no dejé un guard, soy un hijo de puta.
When we end,
An ally has been slain. Enemy double kill.
the horrors of the Isle.
Gold.
Our souls
Para. No, no llego.
we are dead much longer than we are alive.
Ah. ¿Me puedo solear? No estoy segura. Hachero. Así un varoncito. Let's go. Ya sabía que le iba a ganar esta partida, ¿sabes por qué? Porque tengo que ganar una, perder una. Si no, no es un stream up. Fragmento de llave. Tengo para abrir algo. Otra vez. Ah, no, no sé qué es. Top daño. God. Hay una caja. Pero. Bueno. Cuando llego, 2 y 10. Voy a ver qué hacen los pibes.
Tienen al chabón que tiene
Buenas
las
tardes.
armaduras.
Rook.
Sí, MC.
Ah, están jugando.
El Rook.
No, estaban jugando al Fornite, boludo.
A ese.
Al Phasmophobia.
Agarro controles.
Malditamente fasmofobia. Sigo en una maldición de ganar una, perder una.
¿Dónde estás?
¿Qué? Ah, perdón. Me estoy comiendo los controles.
Anyway.
La comida hamburguesa de McDonald's.
This is currently what every Challenger game looks like.
Como clásico, se ve que Huracán llegó más gente de lo normal y parece que hubo 2x1, parece que los socios entraban gratis con un acompañante, parece que fueron muchos infiltrados porque no muchos tenían la camiseta de Huracán y San Lorenzo se agarró de eso para chicanearlo. Vos ves, esto es un buen tuit, yo lo vi y le di like porque me dio gracia, siento que la picanteó y que queda ahí. Y el CM de Huracán tuitea: sin codos, sin barrio, sin banderas, sin poder jugar de noche. Podata, pasanos el CBU que te mandamos unos pesos para comprar metro.
Ah, bueno. No entiendo nada.
Oh, I heard there's an asteroid or a comet or something that you don't like the looks of. Tell me about it, and then tell me why you're telling me about it. You got 20 minutes.
20 minutes?
That's you, Doc. Go.
Madam President, approximately.
So, got a new license, which is great because it means I get to use this thing, which, if you don't know, lets you.
Nuevamente Yorick.
Punch out a little guitar pick. And that's my old life.
Politicians have traditionally hidden behind 3 things: the flag, the Bible, and children. No child left behind. No child left behind. Oh, really? Well, it wasn't long ago you were talking about giving kids a head start. Head start, left behind.
Voy a hacerme agua. Estoy constantemente tomando mate, masticando chicle para no comer. Porque no quiero, tipo, no quiero comer de más. Entonces, constantemente hago una de esas dos cosas. Voy a poner un video de YouTube para ver de fondo. Lo dejo ahí.
Ancient and half dead. Still, I come for you.
Welcome to Summoner's Rift.
Ah. Un buen video de YouTube para ver mientras juego.
Bill, mine.
Buenísima la map cover, boludo. A partir de las 2 horas estoy full chill. Tipo full sin pensar. ¿Qué te pasa?
I just feel like Team Cherry really dropped the ball on this one. Nothing really seems to connect to the main game, and a bunch of stuff that they promised in their updates is just completely missing. Something about Gods and Glory is just wrong. I really don't know why Team Cherry went in this direction with their newest content pack. This update sucks. It's almost like I accidentally downloaded and played an entirely different game, thinking it was a Hollow Knight expansion, because they happen to share the same incredibly generic, but still somehow trademarked.
No me di cuenta ni que estaba jugando contra un Kenan.
So the final free update for Hollow Knight is here, and spoiler alert, Godmaster is fucking amazing. The new boss rush mode is fantastic and carefully crafted. The new bosses are mostly fun, with one glaring exception. My boy Nosk finally got its wings, and I am so fucking happy. Yeah, he's still a little bitch, but he looks badass, so I don't care. But I'm sure you already knew that Godmaster was amazing, so I'll just shut the fuck up and start talking about the lore. Now there's a zoatload of lore to go over, so let's just start with probably the biggest new piece we got. Team Cherry has finally listened to their fans and given us more information on Flukmarm. In case you somehow forgot, the Flukmarm is a giant boss found in the Royal Waterways. She is the creature responsible for all the parasite creatures wandering around underneath the City of Tears. So what's the new lore surrounding these things? Well, in Godhome, there are statues that represent each of the bosses in the game. With these statues come descriptions of each of the bosses. And for Flukmarm, we got this. Alluring God of Motherhood. That's right. According to the Hollow Knight lore, this thing is alluring, or in other words, attractive. Which means that Flukmarm is now canonically a MILF. Not only that, but we also get a new character related to Flukmarm, the Fluke Hermit. We meet Fluke Hermit high up in the junk pit below the Nailsmith fight. She's surrounded by a pile of whatever, and she is poking a little Fluke with a stick. Dream nailing the Fluke Hermit shows that she is scared of her mother, who we know is Flukmarm. Maybe this is why she chooses to live high up above where the other Flukes live. The Fluke Hermit mentions that she gathers up the Flukmarm's treasure. You can see that this shit in her hideout is also in the room where the Flukmarm fight occurs. The Fluke Hermit also uses the words grow and little sisters, which makes me think she is trying to help her sisters grow from the material she took from the Flukmarm room. Finally, if you wear the Flukeness charm and talk to the Fluke Hermit, she freaks out because, well, you killed her mom. And then she starts wondering if she's the new Flukmarm. So, what exactly is the point of this new character? Well, my guess is that the Fluke Hermit will become more important. Since the new ending implies that it will be a sequel. Maybe Team Cherry just wants an excuse to give us another riveting Flukmarm boss fight. Either that, or Team Cherry just put her here to try and flesh out the pathway from the
Así hace uno de los personajes de Hollow Knight.
The Pale Lurker. Unfortunately, there isn't much to go on with this girl. How do I know she's a girl? Well, that's what the French translation says, so I'm just going to assume that's what it is. She can be found behind the Colosseum of Fools, and has a simple key in her possession. From her Dreammail dialogue, we can see that this lady was bonkers. But from the Hunter's journal entry, we know that her madness had nothing to do with the Radiance's infection. The journal entry also mentions that the Pale Lurker was once a champion of the Colosseum of Fools.
Okay.
With her name including the word pale, the king's idol found in the nearby cave, and her Dreamnail dialogue using the word king, I think it's safe to say that this character is somehow connected to the Pale King. But other than that, I don't think she really helps us better understand anything connected to the Colosseum. Alright, it's time to talk about the Godseekers. Oh boy, is this Lord Things. The Godseekers' origins begin in the Land of Storms. The player can actually travel to the Land of Storms in-game by completing each of the 5 pantheons with all bindings. Thankfully, you don't have to do all the bindings at once, but it's still hard as fuck to do.
I must dig. Kill and use its form.
Si este pibe no está, yo pusheo. Bueno. ¿Ves? Creo que hacer un autoataque. Como siempre sacamos 2 placas porque 2 es el número de la suerte. Me olvidé de ponerme la skin de gatito de nuevo, boludo. Boludo, la música del LoL cambia cuando tenés a la dama. Nunca me he dado cuenta de eso. Vamos, me estoy dando cuenta ahora que estoy jugando, Yorick. Siempre, muchas veces intenté agarrar a Yorick como uno de mis main, pero nunca lo verdaderamente agarré hasta ahora. Que me jugué 13 partidas seguidas y casi siempre me va bien. ¿Tiene 6? Sí. Uy. Pobre Kenen lo está re ignorando su equipo. Lo está pasando re mal. Au. Con los bushes puedo controlar un poco más a la dama. Okay.
What's one more grave?
Shut down. An enemy has been slain.
Walking for the
Qué buena banda ahora, mi vaquero.
Even a monk needs respite.
Yo tengo ítem. God. Nos llevamos placa. Hacemos así. Nos vamos. Pi pu pu pi pu pi pi pu pi pi pu pi 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 pu pi.
I am the first and last of my order. The Isles remember.
Casi no la cuenta, ¿eh?
Return and fight. I fight to free you as well, though a hatchet would suffice.
An ally has been slain.
Más no puedo hacer, brother.
This mist has become
¡Ay, la puta madre, flaco! Oh, Dios, qué necesidad.
Enemy killing spree. An enemy has been slain. Rampage.
Casi.
we all end the same.
Que vengan en fila, boludo. Me los cojo uno por uno. Puedes ir viendo el videito.
To do. The Land of Storms is a desolate wasteland with high winds, rain, and lightning. The area is just a long, straight pathway that leads to a room containing Godseeker masks piled up on the ground. In the background, you can see the silhouettes of two large bugs. We can get a better view of these bugs by ripping the images from the game. The Land of Storms also contains an item that unlocks a journal entry for the Weathered Mask. The description of the mask says that it originates from a godless land, and that the design of the mask allows the wearer to focus their thoughts through the crest. There's also a quote from a poem titled Lament of the Godseekers, which explains that the previous gods that the Godseekers worshipped abandoned them. It's hard to say what the Godseekers did to cause their gods to forsake them, but it must have been something horrible. Or it's possible that their gods just died. Maybe these silhouettes are of the old gods' corpses. Regardless of why the old gods are gone, it's clear that their departure had a negative effect on the Godseekers, and it has to do with how the Godseekers' mind works.
Porque un
The
amigo es
Godseekers have a shared mind.
una
The
luz.
Godseekers we talk to in the game almost always say our
Medio
mind,
de la
as if they share one singular mind.
oscuridad.
The Godseekers in Godhome also mention that their mind is a sea. With this shared mind, the Godseekers attempt to connect themselves to the gods. The description on the weathered mask mentions that the wearer's thoughts are focused through the crest of the mask.
Sí, no llego a
It's
tirarla,
through
pero
this
sí.
focus that the Godseekers are able to communicate with the
Nos vemos.
gods and ascend their own mind. The Godseeker in the Royal Waterways puts it best when she says the following: by attuning ourselves, we clutch at their greatness, their immortality, their unknowable splendor. During the Pantheon of Hallownest, the Godseeker also says, we live only to serve the gods, to seek them out. So what happens if there are no gods around for the Godseekers to attune with? In their lament, the Godseekers mention a willful silence after the gods of thunder and the gods of rain departed them. Also, there's this line from the Godseekers where they ask what gods will save them from their silent mind. So yeah, the Godseekers really want to be around gods, otherwise their mind suffers in silence. Which brings us to the next part of the story, the journey to Hallownest. Turns out there's yet another hidden area in the new DLC. This one happens completely by random when you dreammail the Godseeker in the Royal Waterways. Instead of being taken to Godhome, you are taken to a strange area that looks similar to the Howling Cliffs. Here we see the Godseeker hiding in a cave next to a strange contraption. The Godseeker talks about how they will find their way to their new gods. After you look at the device, you get kicked out of the area and booted back into Godhome. This scene appears to be a memory from the Godseeker, showing her journeying out of the Land of Storms in order to find a new god. The device is likely an older version of the God Tuner, an item the knight receives after opening the cocoon that the Godseeker was sealed in.
God.
The God Tuner seems to have a couple of different abilities, one of which being the ability to locate powerful beings. It is with this device that the Godseekers were able to find Hallownest. In the Pantheon of Hallownest, just before the Pure Vessel fight, the Godseeker mentions that the lingering power of the Pale King's presence in Hallownest was what led the Godseekers to the kingdom. The Pale King's afterglow must have been picked up by the God Tuner, leading them straight into
No! Okay.
This is where things get a little weird. The next time we see the Godseeker, she's inside of a cocoon with a lock placed around her. The Godseeker probably didn't place these chains upon herself, unless she used some sort of reverse David Blaine maneuver, so it was probably somebody else who did this. In one of her dialogues, she mentions that her sleep was a forced hibernation. I think it's worth pointing out that this cocoon is also called a coffin in the game's text files. I speculated in my last video that it was the Pale King who locked the Godseeker up. This doesn't make sense, however, seeing as it was the Pale King's afterglow that led the Godseekers to Hallownest in the first place. So who else could have done this? Well, there's the Weavers, but it seems like they would use spells or spool rather than chains and a key. So maybe it was one of the 5 Great Knights, possibly the Dung Defender, the Grey Mourner, or Hagamore, if he's still alive. Or maybe it was Hornet, but it seems weird that she wouldn't warn the knight about the Godseekers if she knew they were in Hallownest. So yeah, I'm clueless on this one. Once the knight opens the cocoon, the Godseeker falls out and drops the God Tuner. When you first pick up the God Tuner, a description of the item pops up. It says, "Seek the gods
Si tenía la dama, creo que lo mataron.
tune their power, through their strength ascend." The Godseeker will tell the knight that they are listening for the gods, but that some of them are still distant and must be awoken. So it's up to us to seek the gods, and with the God Tuner, attune them to the Godseeker. I don't know why the knight keeps agreeing to perform errands for all these random bugs it finds. It does know it's allowed to say no, right? And so, as you encounter all the different bosses in Hallownest, they become attuned to the Godseeker's mind, where they appear in both the Pantheons and the Hall of Gods. At this point, I think I should point out that some of the bosses that are classified as gods are a little strange. I'm not sure why anyone would ever consider the massive Moss Charger to be a god, but hey, maybe the Godseekers are onto something. Maybe you could make a religion out of this. Anyways, let's talk about what happens inside of the Godhome. The Godseeker starts off by calling the knight a cringer. Rude. She then tells the knight to get lost because it is too puny to be in the home of gods. From this point, the player now has access to the Hall of Gods, a place where they can refight bosses on a variety of difficulties. But the main thing we want to look at are the Pantheons. This is where all the new bosses for the update can be found, including the Nailmasters, Sly, the Pure Vessel, and the Absolute Radiance. These bosses weren't integrated into the base game, so it appears that the Godseekers can attune with at least some beings without needing the knight to go fuck them up beforehand. Let's look at the Nailmasters first. Unfortunately, we didn't gain much new lore from them. The first fight is between Oro and Mato. In his Dreammail dialogue, Oro mentions how his path is his alone, which is pretty much what he said in the base game. Mato's most interesting line is, "Don't leave me behind," which really doesn't tell us much. Probably the best part about the fight was this moment.
Nah. No tiré el linky. Soy malardo. Voy a buscar material.
Lore-wise, I want to say that in this moment, Oro and Mato are setting aside their differences and working together to try and beat the shit out of one of their pupils. Inspiring, isn't it? Shio gets all philosophical on us in his Dreammail dialogue, saying stuff like, "What is a god if not an artist?" and Are we all seeking something different? Well, I'm seeking lore, and this shit is a waste of time to me, Shio. What the hell am I supposed to do with philosophy? Actually make something of myself and achieve happiness and self-actualization? Yeah, right. Sly's new dialogue doesn't add any new lore either. He's still a badass boss, though. I especially like the part where he starts jumping all over the fucking walls. But why exactly didn't he teach his technique to the Nail Masters? Some teacher. Also, what's the deal with Sly's voice? Does Team Cherry just let any random person off the street record lines for these characters? Of course, these bosses each have their own entries in the Hunter's Journal. They still don't give us any new lore for the characters, but there is some interesting stuff related to the Godseekers. Each entry includes a prayer from the Godseekers. In each of these entries, the Godseekers make it clear that they are looking for one god in particular, the one they call the God of Gods. This God of Gods that the Godseekers are referring to is the Radiance. During each of the pantheons, the Godseeker will show up and talk with the Knight. For the first 3 pantheons, she just talks about how we are going to get crushed by the god. But the 4th pantheon is where things start to get interesting. This dialogue happens right before the battle with the Pure Vessel, which is a younger version of the Hollow Knight. The Godseeker explains that while the Hollow Knight's body is currently in a state of ruin, the glory of its pure form still endures. She then says that the Pure Vessel's power will attune her to the God of Gods. If you dream of her, she also says that they are seeking the god sleeping within. The Godseeker also ponders what connection the Knight shares with the Hollow Knight before stopping himself. She then freaks out, claiming that we are sowing blasphemies in her mind. To me, this is a really important moment. The Godseekers are finally starting to take the Knight seriously. This could be a sign that the Godseekers are beginning to attune with the Knight. This is important because it seems as though attunement is a two-way street. The Godseekers desire to attune with the gods, and when they do so, the gods are restored to their prime strength. The Pure Vessel is a prime example of this. But let's put a pin in that discussion, because we need to talk about the Pure Vessel. This boss helps us better understand an important aspect of the Hollow Knight. The question of how the Hollow Knight grew has generated a lot of theories. And while my theory never really gained any traction, there was another theory that floated around for a while. This theory basically stated that the Hollow Knight's growth was due to it taking on the infection. The evidence for this was that there are a lot of other creatures in Hallownest that change form due to the infection. This new boss debunks that theory, since the Pure Vessel shows no sign of infection. The Hunter's Journal entry for the Pure Vessel says the following. Chosen Vessel, raised and trained to prime form. I think this is the best explanation we are going to get. The Hollow Knight was raised and trained to prime form, so that's why it looks different than the other vessels. Another interesting thing about the Pure Vessel is that it has both of its arms. Alright boys and girls, it's time to dive into some speculation territory. It's impossible to dream nail the Pure Vessel, but what's interesting is that there is dream nail dialogue for it in the game's code. The same thing happened to the Hollow Knight in the base game, but in that instance there was a ton of other unused dialogue that got left in with it. For the Godmaster update, there really isn't too much unused dialogue here, which makes me think that Team Cherry did this intentionally. These are the Pure Vessel's actual thoughts, we just aren't allowed to see them in game. If this is true, then the fact that it has dialogue at all indicates that the Pure Vessel isn't truly hollow. Looking into what the dialogue says is pretty depressing, honestly. The Hollow Knight is basically just telling itself to stop thinking. So if the Hollow Knight is actually thinking these thoughts, then that means it must have been told what its purpose was, probably by the Pale King. So it knows what's at stake, and it knows it isn't truly hollow, so it's trying its best to keep itself from thinking or feeling anything for the sake of the kingdom. The Hollow Knight wanted so badly to save Hallownest from the infection, but that feeling, that desire, that hope, was ultimately what doomed them all. Kind of ironic, don't you think? After the battle, we get this cutscene. The scene shows the Knight in the same pose it makes after teleporting somewhere. It then looks up and catches the Hollow Knight's eye holes. This stare seems to imply some sort of camaraderie between the two vessels. This camaraderie is shared by the other vessels who observe this in silence. There's definitely room for more interpretation here, but I personally don't think that there's much else going on. Then a light shines down from above, and you hear the Radiance's trademark roar. We then hear another roar as a wave of bullets covers the screen. So we are all well acquainted with the Radiance's roar that happens in this scene. But what is this new roar we hear? The name of the audio file implies the roar comes from something called the Shade Lord. We're going to be...
Shorik is just going 1v9. ¿Qué te puedo decir, hermano? Yo hago mi trabajo. Yo levanto la pala, brother. No es que me vienen de a uno. Y si me vienen a uno, me lo cojo todo. Puedo ir super adelante en oro. Al tiempo. Literalmente no pueden hacer dragón. No podían contestarlo, no podían intentarlo, pues si lo contestaban ganaba la partida yo. Uy. Sí, bueno. Buenardo incluso. Ricky. Ese más con Shorik. Let's go. El daño. No requeda. Una más y plata 2, pibes. Una más. Obvio. Vos lo voy a subir a Shorik a maestría 7.
The Shade Lord a little bit later, so let's table this discussion for now. I want to mention a few miscellaneous things before we move on. There's a lifeblood room that can be accessed in Godhome. You have to complete at least 8 binding challenges in the Pantheons to open the door. Inside, there's an object you can strike to activate
Puta madre que me
that will
Hello, my boy. No sé si el pibe este habla en inglés o en español. Así que decimos buenas tardes y good evening. Y cruzamos los dedos. Pues por ahí hablo francés, boludo, y me caga. Estoy cagando de calor también, que estoy tomando mate permanentemente. Pero bueno. Voy a abrir la ventana porque estoy cagando de calor. También tengo el gorro. No soy muy inteligente, me parece. Ahí, bien abierto. Nuevamente, Shorik. Momento, Shorik.
Show up during the pantheons. On top of that, you can also see our friend the Abyss Creature.
Mira,
so what does this tell us about the Abyss Creature and Lifeblood in general? Pretty much nothing, other than that this thing classifies as a god, which is obvious. Some of the bosses in Godhome have new Dreamnail dialogue. Hornet appears to know that she has been pulled into Godhome, but she seems unsure of what exactly is going on. From looking at his Dreamnail dialogue, it's obvious that Grimm is fully aware of what is happening. In fact, he even bows to God.
Boludo, me está dando calor. Está empezando a hacer calor de nuevo. Yo me voy a suicidar.
Godseeker before each fight. Both of these characters have some sort of godlike status. Grimm is a higher being, for sure. As for Hornet, her father was the Pale King, so she is like half higher being, or whatever. So this is probably why she is only somewhat aware of what's going on. And now we move on to the fifth and final pantheon.
No hay problema, pica primero.
This is where you have to fight almost every single boss in the game without dying. Yeah, it's hard as fuck. In fact, it's harder than fuck. If this is fuck, then this is the Pantheon of Hallownest. The biggest problem people seem to have with this Pantheon is that there are new endings for the game, locked behind the 42 boss gauntlet. I can see why this would upset people. Personally, I don't think Team Cherry made the wrong choice by putting the new endings behind such a difficult challenge, but I also wouldn't be mad if they made it a little more accessible either. When we first see the Godseeker in the Pantheon, she marvels at how far we've come, and she tells us that the Godseekers will be listening closely to.
Champ select. Ok, top lost. Yo, porque... Ay, Dios. Yo me olvido que hay gente así en este juego. Dios, por favor. Adquirí ayuda. Ahora vemos mis estadísticas. Let's go, 58 de win rate. 58, nice. Mira esto, boludo, estoy ganando partidas. Voy a banear Shax.
Again, this is important. The Godseekers are beginning to pay attention to the Knight. If the Knight talks to the Godseeker again, she will tell it to continue its combat and to continue its ritual.
Esto es re deprimente, que digan leads but loses.
The Godseeker talking about a few of the other gods of Hallownest. Okay, so I don't know why I've been pronouncing this as Un. The spelling clearly indicates it as Un. I guess Un just sounds more like the name for a slug. I don't know. Sorry. Basically, the Godseeker confirms that Un's strength has faded from what it once was. This explains why she has stopped appearing to her children in Greenpath. The next god we see missing out on the party is the White Lady. The Godseeker says that the White Lady is easily able to avoid the attunement process, as if she were intentionally diminishing her power to avoid detection.
Nice chill stream. Sorry, I'm English. I like your stream. No one understand you, but I like your stream. Oh, no problem, my guy. Love to play with you. I mostly just chill on stream. Since I play top, I can just be isolated in my little island up there and just chill. You know, I usually just listen to music while I play. Today I'm watching a Hollow Knight lore video, but that's mostly because I already streamed like 2 hours and I was kind of bored, so I just decided, let's go. It's a map cover, but it also entertains me. Like, that last match I was playing pretty painted, not gonna lie. I need to stop drinking, it's fucking hot. Oh. Well, you like your stream?
If we dream nail her, the Godseeker says something else that's interesting. The chance of meeting is too rare, but thine residence. Could you be one of them? What does the Godseeker mean by them? We know next to nothing about the...
What main rank are you? I saw that top lane gameplay, plat or higher. I feel flattered by what you say to me, but no, sadly no. I'm not very good at this game. It was just in last match it was just they were leaving me alone way too much. And I also got advantage early, so I snowballed. But no, I'm this is my main account. I don't have a Smurf. I'm just playing. This is how I play in general. I have like a 50% win rate. I'm a fucking coin flip of a person. But you know, if I can chill and not worry, I don't mind losing. You know, it is what it is. And I'm not particularly good at Yorick either. I started playing him rather recently, actually. They kept going, being on bot for 4 months. They didn't get much out of it. Yeah, I knew that Kennen lost early, so he just started roaming. But I guess he didn't have enough impact in the game, even though he was roaming. So I just pushed. I just went for it, since that's what my champion is for. And at some point, they just decided to all start coming to top, but I was too ahead in gold. I had too much of a gold lead for them to like kill me, so they had to constantly send 3 people to kill me. And since they could send, since they sent 3 people to get me, you guys could get objectives and shit, which is pretty nice. That's what I should always be doing, but I'm not that good, so sometimes I fuck up and I lose lane, and the laner that's actually roaming now is actually fed, so he can have a lot more impact. But it is what it is. I was having a horrible streak too of like winning, losing. Well, I was really coin flipping my way here. I'm coin flipping my way out of silver. Pop, pop.
I once had honor.
Me olvidé poner aquí. I wanted to get the Kitty Cat skin. But I always forget. Oh fuck, I have Overwolf. I need to fucking remove Overwolf. I installed it today, and I feel like it fucks up my frame rate in some way. I don't know if it's true. It might be just purely my mind, but Oh, I have to stay here. I gotta stay here so I can see if they try to invade. Ever since I saw a video where a streamer was shit talking people because they would just start a game and just sit under tower, I just felt bad about doing that. So now I always sit here. I usually never go for invades because I don't really care. Since I'm the top laner, I just use the opportunity to be perma pushing top. Not perma pushing, but just I ignore everyone and just stay top.
The White Lady's origins. Could this be?
I'm just gonna put this video to chill while we wait.
A hint at future character development for everyone's favorite.
It's great because I cover my map. It's not like nobody's gonna check my map. I just
says this.
No.
A god so strong, yet erased so completely. How could it happen? I think she is referring to the death of the Pale King here. Now, if you believe that the White Palace in the King's Mold mind is real and not a dream, and you don't think that the Pale King reincarnated a second time somehow, then you probably think that the Pale King is definitely dead. But like the Godseekers, we don't actually know what killed the Pale King. This dialogue makes me think that Team Cherry is going to actually give us an answer to this question in the upcoming Hornet DLC. Or, maybe they'll just give us more Fluke Hermit lore instead. After this room, all that's left are 2 more battles. The first of which being the Vessel. After defeating it, the Radiance reveals herself. But this isn't your daddy's radiance. This is the absolute radiance.
Yeah.
She's got blades that curve, attacks that overlap on each other.
Yeah, yeah.
And there's this really tricky section.
Oh, you remind me of
full
fucking.
ballistic
Oh,
on the
you
knight.
remind me of
If
something
you're
evil.
able to dodge all that bullshit and land the final blow, the knight's shell breaks and it turns into this gigantic monster with 8 eyes.
Okay.
The Shade Lord. This giant
oh.
creature doesn't just consume the radiance
Ah!
with the Dream No More ending, it completely destroys the asshole. One important thing to notice about this fight is that as the Void comes up to confront the Radiance, there are no shades in sight. This is quite different from the first Radiance fight. If we go back to the cutscene from Pantheon 4, we see the Void cover the screen along with all of the vessels. I think this is establishing that the Shade Lord itself is responding to the Radiance's call, whereas in the regular Radiance fight, it was the fellow Shades coming to help them. The fact that the Shade Lord covers over the vessels may also indicate that the vessels, or the Shades, have actually become a part of the Shade Lord, but it's hard to tell. So why am I calling this thing the Shade Lord? It is never called this in-game, but there are files in the code that refer to it as the Shade Lord. It is also been referred to as the God of Gods, but I see that as more of a title, so I'm just going to call this thing a Shade Lord for now. Also because I've already said God like 100
Oh, I'm kind of fucked. Because I use a lot of mana. I just stream, but then you go. Sorry. No, don't be sorry, my man.
Let's start by looking at the
Have a nice day.
in the Hall of Gods. If you are able to defeat every boss in the Hall of Gods, you are given access to a room containing a statue of the knight.
Oh.
This statue will take 3 different forms depending on what difficulty you have beaten each boss
Okay.
on. The first statue simply shows the knight in its traditional bug form. Inspecting the statue gives you the following description: not bug, nor beast, nor god. Examining the statue will also give you an entry in the Hunter's Journal for an item called the Void Idol. The Void Idol is described as a rare artifact from a time before Hallownest. It also says that the idol contains a drop of liquid from the abyss. There's a quote from Yardspeaker Lem saying that the ancient bugs worship the darkness itself.
Ooh.
The second statue takes the form of the knight
that's
in
the
the ending of the Radiance battle in the base game. The statue's description says, Void given form. I think this is referring to the fact that once the knight obtained the Void Heart, it was able to command the Void and summon it during the Radiance boss fight. The Void Idol description for this statue states, volatile liquid of the abyss rise within. This implies that while the Void has form, it isn't completely controlled. The final statue takes the form of the creature that we see in the Embrace the Void ending. Interestingly, the description for this statue has actually been changed since the first release of Godmaster. In update 1.4.2.4, it read, Void Given Mind. But since update 1.4.2.8, it now reads, Void Given Focus. The Void Idol description for this statue reads, rare artifact from a time before Hallownest. Its spires twined in a unified form. Contains a large amount of liquid from the abyss. Perfectly still. In this last form, we can see that the Void is now calm, as if something has total control over it. Hopefully, all of this information didn't confuse you. I wanted to give you context for all of this, but it's the last statue that I really want to discuss. Basically, all we have to figure out is how the Void was given form, because this is how the Lord Shade came to be. I'm going to present my current theory on how this happened. I think there's plenty of room for other interpretations, and I would love to hear them in the comments below. Let's start with the God Tuner. Remember what the item description was when we first picked it up? Seek the gods of Hallownest. Tune their power. Through their strength, ascend. The God Tuner tells the knight to attune itself to the gods of Hallownest. This attunement happens through combat, according to the God Seeker. The God Seeker explains, through sacred combat we attune to this kingdom's greatest beings. When redoing the Pantheon of the Night, the God Seeker asks us if we too are seeking to attune with the gods, implying that it is also possible for the knight to do so. Which means this line from the God Seeker also applies to the knight. We shall attune ourselves to thee and ascend ever higher. So what does it mean to ascend? Well, the Hall of Gods features ascended versions of all of the bosses, which are more powerful than their original versions. So I think it's safe to say that ascension makes a being more powerful. The Knight's ascension happens at the end of the battle with the Absolute Radiance. The flavor text for getting the Embrace the Void achievement reads, ascend the Pantheon of Hallownest and take your place at its peak. So the Knight attunes to the bosses through combat and ascends them when it beats the Pantheon of Hallownest. But what exactly drives all of this? What is it that allows the attunement and ascension to happen in the first place? Well, the Godseekers have to be involved, because none of this confusing attunement garbage was important until they showed up. But what is it about the Godseekers that makes them
No puedo
special?
verla ahora.
They
Lo
aren't
tengo
gods. The Godseeker
sin,
in the junk pit admits this
sin
herself
R.
when she says, "You must think us godly, amusing, foolish." So what is it about the Godseekers that makes them so special? It all goes back to the weathered mask. The mask allows the wearer to focus their thoughts. In the Pantheon of the Sage, the Godseeker tells us the following: "Until through godly focus do we attain communication with the great power sleeping in the kingdom's heart." I think this godly focus is what makes God Home work. It's what allows creatures to be attuned back to their prime forms, and what allows them to become more powerful through ascension. All of the abilities that the Godseekers have come back to this godly focus. For the first 4 pantheons, the Godseekers have no interest in the night, seeing it as a weak and meager cringer. At the end of the Pantheon of the Night, however, the Godseeker mentions that the night is beginning to get into her mind. Not long after this moment, we hear the Lord Shade's roar for the first time. Once the night makes it to the Pantheon of Hallownest, the Godseeker starts paying attention and listening to us. By the time the night has finally defeated the Radiance, all the focus from the Godseekers is being pointed towards this tiny little bug. And with all that godly focus being directed right at the night, who just so happens to be unified with the Void thanks to the Void Heart, the Lord Shade finally makes a formal appearance. The Godseekers have given focus to the Void. Before we get into the ending cutscene, I wanted to talk about the new Lem quote we got. It reads, "Inspired or mad, those ancient bugs. They devoted their worship to no lord, or power, or strength, but to the very darkness itself." So this pretty much confirms that the ancient civilization before Hallownest worshipped the Void. To what extent, we don't know. Did they worship the Lord Shade, or just the Void in general? Did the Lord Shade even exist in the past, or did it only come into being because of the Godseekers? A more involved Void does jive nice with the Radiance's dialogue, where she calls the Night her ancient enemy. Did the Radiance combat this Void monster in the past? Alright, let's move on to the cutscene.
Siempre, dos
So the
placas y nos
Lord
vamos.
Shade comes down from the
Número de la
sky
suerte.
and gives the Godseeker a friendly hug. You can hear the Godseeker's voice in this scene, and to me, it sounds like she's more in awe than she is scared. After all, the Godseekers were looking for the most powerful god, and now there's one in her presence. Also, in Godseeker mode, Godseeker keeps talking like she gets off to being pulverized by a god, so this all makes sense. After this scene, we see the Void leaking out of the Godseeker in the junk pit. The Void then erupts out of her, seemingly unleashing itself into the land of Hallownest. The final scene takes place at the Temple of the Black Egg. Hornet watches as the Radiance's infection fades away, and we hear the sound of footsteps and rattling chains. A figure appears in front of the camera, and Hornet prepares herself for battle.
Bien, ya tengo
You can
ítem.
tell from this scene that the Radiance is truly dead, since the infection is fading away. Why does killing the Radiance in Godhome kill the real Radiance? Since the Radiance was already in the dream world, maybe attuning to it works in a different way than normal. One of the Godseekers in Godhome...
Flaco, te mató al lado de mí.
All the Godseekers did was find
¿Por
a way
qué me
to
guardas a
get
mí?
Godhome with the dream
I'm
inside the
trolling
God's
now.
mind. Getting back to the
Flaco.
cutscene, some people have said that the infection is being turned into void, but I think these vines are
¿Por
just normal
qué?
work. Let's
¿Por
talk
qué me
about the
toca
scene
con
with
esta
the
gente?
Broken Hornet at the end of the cutscene. It's obviously the Hollow Knight. We hear its chains rattling, we see the bottom part of its shell, and we also see its nail. And since the Radiance is dead, the Hollow Knight would presumably no longer be infected. But this does raise the question, how the fuck did the Hollow Knight free itself from the chains? This doesn't make a lick of goddamn sense to me.
Oh.
Did it somehow pull off some sort of reverse David Blaine maneuver? I mean, I get what Team Cherry is trying to do. After all, ending it with Hornet just standing there like a dumbass wouldn't have been that exciting. But it still bothers me. This ending totally caught me off guard. I honestly thought the Hornet DLC was going to be a prequel. In fact, I had a whole video plan where I was going to go through and predict what I thought would happen. Luckily, I was too lazy to get that done before this update came out. But now that the new ending seems to strongly hint at a sequel, I'm actually really excited. The Shade Lord looks absolutely terrifying, and I have no idea how Hornet is going to stand any
¿Por qué está
chance
acá
against it. Yeah, I don't think her needle's going to do shit. However, Thanks to an alternate ending,
Se llenaron bastante placas, pero se llenaron lo dividió entre dos las placas,
if
así
the
que.
player has successfully delivered the delicate flower to the grave in the Queen's Garden, more flowers will begin to grow in that spot. These flowers can be taken to various other NPCs in the game. This is probably what Team Cherry meant by romantic options. Still can't give one to my waifu though. Taking the flower to the Godseeker unlocks an alternate ending, where the Godseeker and the Void disappear, presumably stopping the Void from tearing into Hallownest. The description for the flower says that it glows with a pale light, which is usually a sign of something having a connection to the Pale King. Turns out that's not true. Eternal Emelisha tells us that the flower's pure aura is no match for the light of the Pale King. The White Lady also tells us that the flower is not even from Hallownest, implying that mysterious Samir brought it with her from some other land. We have no clue where that was, but there is something about mysterious Samir that is worth pointing out. After completing the flower quest, Zamir nopes the fuck out of existence, similar to how the delicate flower caused the Godseeker to also disappear. That's about all we know for now. It seems pretty likely that the Hornet DLC will get further into what exactly is going on here. And that's it. That's all the lore I can mercilessly beat out of this update. Okay, there's one more thing. You can now find the Nailsmith's body floating in the water near the jump pit. I'm glad Team Cherry gave us that image. But yeah, that's it. Well, there's also the Eternal Ordeal. This is a minigame of sorts where you have to fend off against an endless stream of Zotes. It's a cool area, but there isn't any lore to discuss. For some reason, Team Cherry didn't add journal entries for the additional Zotelings. This is unacceptable. Alright, I actually am done this time. There's nothing left in the game to talk about. But there is something not in the game that I need to talk about. Glorified charms. In case you hadn't noticed, they kind of don't actually exist. Rumor is these charms would have required the entire game to be reworked so that they wouldn't completely break everything, but Team Cherry hasn't put out a formal blog update saying why the charms were cut, or even what they would have been like, so I don't really know for sure. This update is still amazing regardless, but it is still a bit of a bummer. I just hope Team Cherry closes in on how the charms are going to work at some point in the future. So where does this update leave us? This isn't 100% confirmed, but it looks like Hallownest is about to get totally fucked by the Shade Lord, and it's up to Hornet to stop it. How will she do that? Hell if I know. That's Team Cherry's problem now. They're the ones who have to come up with a solution to the problem that actually makes sense. I mean, I'll try and figure it out, but my theories can be as ridiculous as I want as long as I put the word speculation in the video title. That's the beauty of having a lore channel after all. Speaking of which, I know this happened like 2 months ago, but thanks for 10,000 subscribers. I've really enjoyed being able to make these videos
Les
for
quiero.
the community.
Boludo, es una cosa muy peligrosa. Estoy intentando que mi jungla no trolee. Tipo, estoy intentando, no que no trolee, que no rage quitee, que no haga alt F4. Tipo, es como convencer a un nenito de que se tiene que ir a dormir o algo así. Está como complicado. Que no diga y se vaya. No, no. Chill. Estamos de chilling, brother. ¡Oh! ¡Qué paja! Tendría que haber corrido para el ship, que allí lo mataba solo. Más lore de Hollow Knight.
We've talked about the Pale King a lot on this channel, but today he's going to get a very we're not going to talk about how he had sex with a tree, or how he killed millions of his own children, or that time he built a shitty tramway that goes only about 10 feet. No. Instead, we're going to talk about the fate of the Pale King. The gray mortar in the resting grounds implies that the Pale King fled from his kingdom. This lines up with what is written in the game's manual, which mentions what happened to the Pale King as Hallownest fell to ruins. He explains that he abandoned his subjects and went into hiding. Anyone hoping to find the Pale King would face a journey perilous beyond imagining. And, well...
¿Qué está pasando acá?
The exact timeline of when all this happened is a bit hazy. There are corpses in an ancient basin of bugs begging for the Pale King to return. His infection hadn't completely taken over.
Bueno, yo lo intenté, brother. ¿Qué crees que haga? Deja de pinguear, Vi, por favor. No tenía que ir, pero bueno. Tengo lag, no sé por qué. ¿Una bronca?
Relic Seeker Lem tells us that before the city collapsed, the bugs took to writing on spider silk instead of stone tablets, but that the moisture in some of the towers had ruined most of these writings. So in other words, these bugs are complete morons, and we have no writings from when the city fell. Relic Seeker Lem mentions that he found no mention of the hollow on the statue of the city.
Defiendan sin morir.
As far as we can tell, the king went into hiding sometime when all of this was
Van a poder.
and that some of the subjects still retain their control over the radiance. Of course, we know where the Pale King went. His crypt can be found inside of the White Palace found inside of a king's mold. This opens a whole new can of worms that we have to discuss. There's this idea that the White Palace hidden inside of the king's mold is just a memory, and not the real White Palace. I've mentioned this idea a couple of times in my other videos, but I don't believe it to be correct at all. First of all, if this one is just a dream, then what happened to the real White Palace? Relic Seeker Lem tells us that the palace seems to have just vanished. Does this mean there's a second White Palace somewhere that we haven't seen yet? Did I just happen to miss it behind a breakable wall in Greenpath? This argument makes less sense than just saying that the one in the dream is the real one. When we try to dream nail the king's mold without the awakened dream nail, we can see that there's some kind of barrier over it. This is the same barrier we see over the three dreamers. Seems like someone was intentionally trying to block this dream off from the outside world. This only makes sense if it's the real palace and not just some random memory. The Pale King in the White Palace drops the King's Soul, which the White Lady recognizes as being connected to the real Pale King. Why would the real Pale King be hiding in a random memory and not the real White Palace? The White Palace itself contains a memory sealed away in the Path of Pain. Why would a memory be sealed inside another memory? What is this, Inception? But with bugs? Anyway, why would a King's Mold even have this memory from the Pale King in the first place? Doesn't really seem like something the Pale King just mentioned during a casual game of dominoes or something. Dying in the White Palace counts as a real death, which I think anchors the White Palace to reality in some way. And we also know that the Pale King was able to somehow place the Radiance inside of the Hollow Knight. So why can't he place the White Palace inside of a King's Mold? It seems to me like the King definitely has the capability to put his palace in the dreamland. But that's enough of arguing.
Oh, qué bronca, boludo.
It's time to start speculating about some of the more obscure
Siempre estoy con dos, boludo, una bronca.
The Pale King's corpse is found hunched over on his throne in the White Palace. Now, I'm not a biologist, but I'm pretty sure things don't just die for no reason. I guess the conservative view towards the Pale King's death would be to say that he just withered away. The White Lady describes Hallownest's ruin as lasting far longer than the existence of the kingdom. So the Pale King has probably been there a long time. But I think I have an explanation that makes at least some sense. The Void. Let's start by
Es mi culpa, estoy re adelante sin visión, pero bueno, yo qué sé. Soy mala.
The King's Workshop reads, Void, yours is the power opposed. In this line, I believe that the Pale King is saying that the Void is a force opposed to himself. The Pale King is described as a pale light, akin to the Radiance. We see that the Radiance and the Void aren't exactly pen pals, from both her doing the dialogue and the fact that the Void completely fucks her up. The Void is also enemies with the Pale King.
Gracias.
Or it might be that the Void opposes any sort of life in general.
Oh, paja, maté todo.
Bugs have been killed by the
Oh, quería que yendo ahí matemos a todos y yo... Ah, qué paja.
To kill the Pale King. Okay.
Ah, es mi culpa. Yo tenía que haberme quedado.
We can't place the Void in the throne room with the Pale King.
Quería... Idealmente... Ahí íbamos a matarlos, yo iba a vaquear y iba a defender, pero bueno. Las cosas no siempre van como uno quiera.
Look at those black balls floating around. That's void, people. Well, maybe. In my Mask Maker video, I mentioned that there are black balls floating around, stating that I thought they were evidence of void. In the Ancient Basin and the Abyss, there are little black balls floating around everywhere to imply the presence of void. But someone has since pointed out to me that these black balls found in the Mask Maker's room can be seen in several other rooms. It's in the Stag Station in Dirtmouth, as well as several indoor rooms found in the game. So I don't think the particles in the Mask Maker's room are a very reliable piece of evidence. But things are a little different with the Pale King's throne room. First of all, the throne room is dark. So dark that the knight pulls out the Lumafly lantern. This is very peculiar for sure. The only other area in the White Palace I can find that is this dark is the hallway to the King's workshop, where he worked on the void constructs. Whether or not this means there's void in the room is up in the air. You don't need the lantern for the Abyss, so it might be a moot point. Second, the black balls in this room are actually a little different from the ones we see in other parts of Hallownest. The black dust balls fade in and out of existence, whereas void balls grow and shrink. Now just look at the balls in the throne room. That is textbook shrinkage, people. On top of that, these void balls can be much larger than the dust balls. After intensely studying balls for about 20 minutes, I can conclude that these particles in the throne room are in fact void. If that isn't my truth, there's also pillars of black smoke in the room. This is yet another effect that is only found near void. Hopefully, my speculation hasn't lost me yet, because this is where shit gets good. If there is indeed void in the throne room, then where did it come from? Well, I have a few theories, two of which revolve around the King's Molds found in the game. We see a grand total of 11 King's Molds in the White Palace. There is one standing guard at the entrance, another one shortly afterwards, 2 guarding the memory in the Path of Pain, and then 7 corpses outside the throne room. It seems a bit strange that the King's Molds found near the Pale King are dead, but not the ones that are further away. It might be that the void within the King's Molds was able to escape its confinement.
It is what it is. Va a ser un muero, todo jungla.
And that's why it escaped from these King's Molds and not the other ones. But there are a few issues with this theory. Did the Pale King not realize that this could happen? We sort of have to concede that the Pale King is an idiot for this theory to work. And while he might be kind of an asshole, I don't think he's an idiot. On top of that, the King's Mold corpses have pools of void around them. So is the void even moving into the throne room? Or does it just do nothing? So that's one possible theory. Not exactly airtight, but I think it's plausible. However, there is one more King's Mold we need to talk about, the corpse found in the Ancient Basin. Like I said earlier, this King's Mold was used by the Pale King to hide himself and his castle. So this corpse looks quite different from the corpses found in the throne room. This King's Mold has giant void tendrils connected to it. It seems to me that this is way more void than you would get from one King's Mold. I think these tendrils are seeping into the King's Mold. In other words, the void from the Abyss actually made its way into the dream inside of the King's Mold and reached the Pale King. Now that's dedication, I must say. This theory also grants more significance to the Lighthouse Keeper in the Abyss. When we first reach the Abyss, the light in the lighthouse is turned off. Inside, we see the corpse of one of the Pale King's followers. Their dream mail dialogue reads, "Turn it off. Cannot. My king, I'm sorry. The sea calls." I think this dialogue is showing us that the Lighthouse Keeper was influenced by the void to turn off the light, and then apologize to the king for doing so. The Pale King knew the void was dangerous, hence why he had the lighthouses built. But his servants failed to keep the void at bay, allowing the void to move upward towards the palace grounds and reach the King's Mold containing the White Palace. We can see that the void is capable of doing this. There are void tendrils that reach all the way into Deepness, where the Sharp Shadow charm can be found. And then there's the fact that the void particles can be seen as high up in the kingdom as the elevator at the top of the Ancient Basin. Okay, so what are the problems with this theory? Well, the mind of the King's Mold was locked behind a shield. So is it really possible that the void could get past it? During the 2 Radiance battles, we can see that the void is capable of entering the dream world. But we don't know how much more difficult it would be for the void to get into the King's Mold. What exactly would it look like for the void to enter this dream? Did it go through the front door? Or can it appear wherever it wants? If void did come in this way, why wouldn't it attack the royal retainers? This doesn't explain what's going on with the King's Mold in the White Palace. and why only some of them are dead. So yeah, both of these theories are incredibly speculative, and should definitely be taken with a grain of salt. But I do think there has to be some reason for why there are void particles in the throne room. It's worth mentioning that the lore tablet in the throne room might be connected to all of this. There are a few of these egg-looking tablets found in Hallownest. Most of them feature this strange symbol that flashes on the screen. These tablets were likely created by the Pale King. There's a certain sound effect that plays when reading these tablets. We can hear a longer version of this sound during the birthplace cutscene in the Abyss, when the Pale King is talking to the Hollow Knight.
An ally has been slain.
The beyond is waiting. Strive to meet it.
This voice clip is weird as fuck. We can hear a man's voice, which is probably the Pale King, but then there is a strange breathing that sounds like a female voice. I assume this is the White Lady, so maybe she was also present when the Pale King chose the Hollow Knight. This strange whispering can also be heard in the Pale King's workshop. This is the same sound you can hear while standing near a lore tablet, but in the workshop it's much louder. Anyway, the tablet in the throne room is...
Por favor, son dos menos.
Not only is the egg
Son dos
different
menos.
from the other ones, but there's
Son
no
tres
voice that
menos.
plays when you interact
Por
with it.
favor.
Did the Pale King write this tablet? I don't know who else would have written it, honestly. But I'm getting super off topic. My point is that the egg is reminiscent of the black egg in the Forgotten Crossroads, as well as the black eggs found in the Abyss. First of all, they're black. Second, the floor in this part of the room uses the same effect as the floor in the black egg. This might be hinting at this egg actually containing void in some form, which would possibly explain why there is void in the room. But at the same time, I really doubt this would kill the Pale King, since there seem to be bindings in this area. And like I said, the king wouldn't do something that stupid. You know, other than building that worthless train in Crossroads. So there are the possible explanations I can find for why...
The shock of resurrection passes. Behold the horrors of the Isle.
Baja. ¿Quieres intentarlo, Sasha? ¿Segura? Si está sola, alumbra la frente. Es muy fácil esto. Si está con el Garen, no sé ahí ya. Bueno, voy a hacer los estos. Aguante, por favor. Por favor. No, no mueran, no mueran. Lo único que necesito es que no mueran. Puta madre. Lo único que necesitaba es que no mueran, boludo. Es que top points. A ver si vos decís. Oh, top points. Es chistoso. Es jocoso lo que me dice el pibe, pero bueno. Había hora promotor en la verdura. Yo qué sé, lo de no a la Vex. Ponele. Ahora voy a ver cuándo voy a comer, ya vuelvo. De paso me sirvo un poco de agua acá. Me retiro a comer, pibes. Mañana continúo o por ahí después, no lo sé. Adiós.